So what are the core steps or the strategies then on this roadmap? What type of things are you doing with the caregivers within the course to help them change their mindset? Can you give us a couple of examples?
Well, here's what the modules are. The first module is learning how to be mindful, which in terms of caregiving is catching the fact that, I'm starting to get angry. I'm starting to get upset. And, asking yourself, well, how does that serve me? Having that thought, how does it restrict me? I'll tell you, I look at everything now with Sonia, because I'm human. I still get stressed. I still get angry. She doesn't know about it. I keep it to myself because I catch myself, because I'm more not interested. What's more important to me is preserving my own health, not raising my blood pressure and shortening my own life. I mean, like I said earlier, I was determined not to let this disease take me down as well.
Yeah.
And so you have to look at, you have to be mindful, that you're starting to get into, a stress mode or get angry. Catch yourself, change your thought. The next thing I talk about is our distorted thoughts, because we do have distorted thoughts. We'll take a thought and, for example, magnify it, to encompass everything when it's not. It's just, what's an example of that? Saying something like, I know this is going to be the way it's going to be for the rest of my life. Well, no, it's not necessarily the case. And look for evidence to either prove that or refute that.
Yeah.
You need to examine it. Another module has to do with limited beliefs. A lot of caregivers have limited beliefs that I'm not doing enough. If I really loved my loved one, I'd be doing more. I wouldn't be complaining. I mean, all those things, they're just not true. You're a human being. You're allowed to have your feelings, and we all feel the same way. It's overwhelming at times. And then looking at just changing your mindset, ultimately getting to the point where you change your mindset. And it just, you have to just, I ask myself, when I'm starting to get upset, and I tell caregivers, ask yourself, how much unnecessary pressure, stress, and anxiety is it adding to your life? And what would happen if you change that thought?
I'm just thinking, as much as caregivers really need something like this, everybody in everyday life needs a course like this about being mindful and catching themselves on their emotions. Me in particular, I have a life coach, and I took a break from her for a short while, and I'm really glad I've gone back to her, because it just, all the things that you're talking about is what she is helping me with, like changing my mindset, being in control of my thoughts, seeing what's serving me and what's not. And it really does make a difference. It really does make a difference. So for a caregiver that's knee deep in it and knee deep in all these extra responsibilities, as well as caring for their own families potentially, or working a full-time job, for them, my only concern would be the timing. So can they do something like that in their own time? Or do you have a time limit on the modules, or are they at a set time, or is it in their own time?
The modules, they're video modules with subtitles. They're really short, 10, 12 minutes. And then there's a summary page you can read of what was in the module and some exercises. So maybe you spend a total of 10, 15 minutes a day.
Yeah.
And I guarantee it just doesn't take that long to see a change in yourself. It really doesn't. And I was mindful of the fact that caregivers, if they finally get an hour to themselves, they don't want to work on themselves. They want to just chill out.
I know.
But you have to look at it. Well, if I spend the next couple of weeks and get to a point where I can accept all of this, because that's what it's based on, really, is acceptance. Is it worth it to spend those extra few minutes a day working on myself, or being miserable from here on out, until it's finally over?
And it's allowing themselves the time to do that, isn't it, for themselves, rather than thinking, I haven't got time to do a module on that care mastery course because caregiver mastery course because I've got to be doing X, Y, and Z, and that's more important. But actually, like you've just said, working on themselves for 10 or 15 minutes a day will have such a great impact in the long run and be more beneficial than not doing, won't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it does come down to acceptance.
Yeah.
Again, you're not going to change the course of the disease. You can either accept it and look at it differently, or let it drive you crazy and take its own toll on you, take a toll on your health.
Yeah.
And that's just not where I want to be. I also tell caregivers, look for the humor in the things that happen, not to make fun of our loved ones, but they do funny things that create memories that hopefully become cherished.